Hey guys, Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World. A beautiful fine morning, blue sky after all the snow and rain and slop and frigid days. It's going to reach up into the 70s this weekend. I'm starting a new idea here. I got this idea, Chris actually told me to watch this video, and now I got hooked on this guy's channel in the wood yard. He takes and puts I see that's crooked. I'm going to have to readjust that. He takes and puts a pallet down, puts one in upright, and then puts angled pieces across and forms a rigid backdrop, and then you can pack your wood in. When you get to the next pallet, you put another pallet down. When you get to the end of that pallet, you do the same thing, and you've got a perfect rack for 2 face cord. You could overload and put 3 face cord, but it's tippy then, and you don't get as much airflow. I want airflow in the middle and the sun to shine down. I gotta get a proper face cord and then get the next one. And I gotta get all this wood off the ground that I split and get it up in racks. Let me show you a different angle here and what else I'm planning. Now what I'm doing here, I've got the front row, which is looking beautiful by the way. I really love the look of this. But I'm leaving a space. I'm measuring it precisely so I can drive the truck in with a load of logs and rack it on either side. I can work on either side, and if I've got a load that needs splitting, I can pull the truck in, pull the log splitter, split it and rack it right there. So I'm trying to streamline my work this year. I'm really paying a lot of attention on improving our firewood quality and my quality of work. So reducing the amount of time spent walking around carrying a piece of wood to and fro, and rather concentrating on working right off the truck, right into the log splitter and right into the racks. Here comes Peeping Ken again. I'm outside working. So he's gotta come and spy me. Look at him driving in my grass. He saw me and he popped off the grass real quick right there. He was driving on the grass to antagonize me, and I got it on video this time. He saw me and he hopped right over real fast. Well, I got to the point where I need to add another piece. And after this one, it's gonna get easier, because the first 2 ends need bracing, and then the next one, this side doesn't. I'll only need it after every 2 pallets. So I try to get into the meat of the pallet, get a good angle here. I'm using scrap pieces of wood. Here, Peeping Kenny boy come back around the block already. He just drives around the block. Alright, this is awkward trying not to block the camera. Funny. I'm using my wagon here to support this for me. It looks quite awkward. I'm trying not to block the camera. I'm going to put 2 more nails in and we'll pop over to the other side. This is some scrap slab wood. Some ends I had laying by the garage. Fortunately, I never burn them. Here they are. I was using a T-post at the end of each one, but it's not as stable, and I'm running low on T-posts. I am left-handed, not right. Yes. I'm going to do the other nail off camera because that way I can swing around. Actually, I can swing the camera, can't I? See, then I got a nice start line. Get my wood on there straight. Good. Now I can carry on with filling this up. Well, there's 2 face cord racked and drying. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of questions. I'm going to try to pre-think the questions before they come. Why am I doing this in the middle of the yard when I said I was going to clean up the yard? Well, the past few years we've burnt slightly damp wood, which causes a lot of creosote. When we put our wood out in the back, in the shade, out of the breeze, out of the sun, and in the damp shade of the trees create dampness. The wood gets wet and stays wet. Even if it was ready to burn when you put it back there, when it gets wet. So this here, what I'm doing, I'm racking it out front. Now this is green, and my hope is that we might even be able to burn this year, later on in the season, by leaving it out here in the sun and wind. It has a greater drying effect by far than putting it out in the backyard. So I wonder what just moved the camera. Anyway, that's the plan, and I'm going to carry on with racks out front here this year and only move out to the back what's actually dry. And based on how this experiment works out in the wind and the weather and all the elements, based on how that works out, I may do the same out back, but with a much shorter roof. I won't be actively working out there. It'll be a much shorter roof, much lower, probably sloping at one angle or something. I'm going to consider an experiment, but anything that's dry and ready to burn will go out back. But anything like this, very wet, is going to stay right here, and hopefully, just maybe, it could be ready for the end of the year because of all the wind we get out front. We have a lot of wind out front, and I have a feeling that that's going to get this stuff ready to go this year already. Yeah, we'll see. This is about 50% moisture, 50-60%. I'll check it throughout the months and we'll see what happens. I'm a little bit concerned because that's all that's left of that pile, and I'm paying per load, per face cord, and trying to get a load on the truck, a face cord a trip. But since we've been bulk splitting the wood out on the site and then splitting it smaller here at home, the bulk stuff doesn't fit the truck and trailer as tightly as the little stuff. So I'm not fully getting a face cord a trip. Now, it is still cheaper than a tree service or a semi-truck load doing it this way, because I'm going to the site and I'm cutting it myself and I'm splitting it and bringing it home myself. So it is cheaper, even if I'm not getting a full face cord at home per load. It's still going to work out better. So anyway, I'll get this racked up and we'll see what it turns out to be when I'm done. But I'm going to have lunch now. Well guys, that's it for today. I'm tired. You can see clean grass areas and patches of mulch. I've been raking it up into piles, preparing to get that ready to go on the gardens for the winter. Now I want to show you something. One sunny day. Now remember I showed you this earlier. You guys can rewind and go back. But those are new cracks. Look at that. One good sunny and very windy day. Look at that one. That makes a big difference. They'll split and crack fast in this sun and wind. Those probably will be ready to burn in a week in these conditions. And we're gonna have some really nice weather this weekend. So, and we get a lot of wind here. Here wasn't that cracked at all this morning. And I mean, these are all new cracks. It's really splitting and drying fast in this air. This will be ready in a few days, this pile here. So it's coming along good, very, very well. So I got everything off the ground that was in that pile, and I've got four face cord, a lot of kindling. I will sort that out. And a tiny little bit, so just over 4 face cord it turned out. Well, I have to be honest with myself, there was a lot I threw in here. Any long stuff goes in the odds and ends pile to be reprocessed. So there's a lot, probably, if that pallet was full it would be a half a face. So I'm gonna say 4 1/4 face from what I had here, which is about what I expected it should have been. And it surprised me that I thought a while there it wasn't going to be. So I've got 11 face up. Well, over here I'm going to show you some more. Here's some very good dry wood I need to resaw. I showed you that earlier. And here is a little bit more I have to put away and make room for. So with all of that, not counting those piles back there that I have to redo, but I've got 11 face here, not counting that pile either, just racked and to be racked. I've got to rework all this. A lot of this is, the pine is absolutely dry. Remember, I cut that not long ago. Pine dries fast once you split that stuff open. In this air, with the flow that we have here, pine dries fast. So I am no longer going to be having high piles like this because we have a child that runs and plays now. And this was a collapse quite a while now. I left it down because I haven't had time. I'm going to undo every bit of this here and restack it all exactly as I have been. And I think it looks nice, to be honest. I mean, what do you think, guys? It looks good along the garden area. It's nice and neat. I think it's okay. Tell me your opinions, but that's what I figure I'm going to do. I'm going to restart here, come back a ways, and do just as I've been, and just carry right on, restacking everything. Anything dry goes out back, covered. Anything that still needs to be dried will stay out here, and reprocess that needs to be done. Anyway, that's enough for today. I think my tongue is tired. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't, because you never know what's coming to the homestead tomorrow. Might be firewood, but you just never know. Talk to y'all later.